The next morning, the notebook was still on the table. The circles were still there. The company names were still there. The delivery schedules were still there. But the question had changed. The twins were sitting on the floor beside me, building towers from wooden blocks. One tower collapsed. They laughed, then immediately started building it again, higher, stronger, as if the first version had only been practice. I watched them for a moment, then looked back at the notebook and finally understood what had been bothering me. I wasn't looking at security, I was looking at growth. For days, I'd been studying drivers, suppliers, contractors, maintenance crews, trying to understand who could see the mansion, trying to understand how information moved. But when I looked at the pages again, something else became obvious. The mansion wasn't reacting to threats, it was preparing for a future. That afternoon, I started paying attention to different things, not gates, not vehicles, not deliveries, processes, approvals, records, documentation, the boring things nobody notices. Paper files were becoming digital records. Supplier reviews were becoming more structural. The maintenance reports now required second signature. That was new. That was small. That was one that told me everything. Contracts were being reviewed. Policies were being updated. Access requests required more approvals. Nothing dramatic, nothing urgent, nothing dangerous, just dozens of small improvements. Each one ordinary, each one easily to ignore. But together they told a story. The mansion was changing, not because something had, because someday something would. Later that afternoon, I found Juno in the office. The twins were sitting nearby, drawing on large sheet of paper. One was drawing circles, other was drawing what looked like a truck. At least I hoped it was a truck. Juno was reviewing documents. Several folders sat open across his desk. Supply agreement, service, contracts, operational report. I placed my notebook in front of him. I think I understand now. He looked up.
Understand what?
I pointed to the pages. None of these changes are responding to a problem. His expression didn't change. Then why make them? For a moment, he didn't answer. Instead, he looked towards the twins. Both boys were completely focused on their drawings. Then he spoke.
Pickman's children grow.
I waited. Businesses grow. We signed another page.
Estates grow.
I looked around the office, the reports, the contracts, the schedules, the plans. For weeks, I had been seeing individual pieces. Now I could finally see the pattern. The machine wasn't becoming safer, it was becoming stronger. Not for a day, for years from now. For the people who would eventually inherit it. For the lives being built inside it, including mine, of course. Of course, I thought about that. Then the growth needs to happen quietly, I said. He looked at the notebook
White?
because someone is always watching what gets built. A faint smile appeared on his face. Quiet growth lasts longer. One of the twins suddenly stood up and ran towards the desk. He proudly placed his drawing on top of his dad's paper, a drawing that explained itself without a single word. Nino smiled, then carefully moved an entire stack of documents aside to make room for it. The contracts would wait, the drawing stayed. For some reasons, that stayed with me because growth doesn't always look important while it's happening. Sometimes it looks like paperwork, sometimes it looks like planning. Sometimes it looks like two little boys building towers that keep falling down. That evening, the mansion became quiet again. Staff finished their shift, contractors left. Light slowly disappeared across the property. Just another ordinary day. At least that's what it looked like. Near one of the service exits, an employee signed out and walked toward the parking area. Nothing unusual, nothing memorable, just another person ending another shift.
He had seen the new records office. He had seen the updated procedures. He had seen the meetings, the contracts, the changes. By midnight, someone outside the mansion knew about them too. Not because they entered, because someone inside had already seen them. And someone had been listening for weeks. I thought the mansion was changing because something had happened. I was wrong. The mansion was changing because the future was already on its way.